The story began in Chicago, with a woman named Nadia sitting alone at her small kitchen table. She was in her late 20s, tired but still trying. Nadia had always believed she was the good daughter. Not perfect, not loud, not rebellious, just dependable. When her parents struggled, she sent money. When bills piled up, she handled them. When emergencies appeared like bad weather, she wired transfers without asking too many questions. Deep down, Nadia had one quiet hope, that one day, her parents would love her for more than her usefulness. That evening, Nadia was half working and half staring into a cup of lukewarm tea. Her laptop was open. Emails sat unread. Then her phone lit up. A message from her little sister, Betrayal. The preview made Nadia smile at first. "Guess who has a surprise for you?" Beneath it sat an audio file. Betrayal added, "You have to listen. I swear you'll die when you hear this." Nadia assumed it was family nonsense. Maybe her mother gossiping or her father bragging. But something about that audio file made her uneasy. The audio icon pulsed like it was alive. Nadia stared at it longer than she meant to. A chill crawled across her arms. She almost put the phone down. Almost. But habit and curiosity pushed her forward. Her thumb tapped play. At first there was nothing important, just restaurant noise. Plates clinking, distant chatter, soft music. Then her mother's laugh rose sharply through the sound, not sweet like Nadia remembered, but sharp like someone slicing bread. Then her father spoke, relaxed and amused, like he was discussing the weather. "She really thinks we love her," Richard said. His tone wasn't sad. It wasn't regretful. It was playful, like he was enjoying a joke. Elaine laughed, full and careless. Richard continued, "What we love is her money." Then the laughter returned. Loud, unrestrained, comfortable. It didn't sound like a mistake. Sounded like something said many times before. Nadia went completely still. Her chest tightened. Her ears rang. She didn't hear her own breathing anymore. The room blurred as if her brain refused to accept what it heard. They didn't say Nadia's name. They didn't have to. Nadia was the one who paid the bills. Nadia was the one who covered late fees, credit cards and hospital payments. Nadia was the one who answered every desperate call. The audio ended with chairs scraping and laughter fading out. Nadia stared at the dark screen of her phone like it had become a stranger. Her reflection looked warped in the glass. She whispered to herself, almost choking, "So this is what I am to you." The word family inside her chest suddenly felt rotten. Instead of crying, Nadia opened her banking app. Her hands were oddly steady. She scrolled through years of transfers, linked accounts, shared access, automatic payments. Looked like a web trap she helped build. Nadia began cutting the threads one by one, canceling scheduled transfers, removing linked cards, closing joint accounts. Every tap felt like breaking chains. She didn't shake until the last connection was severed. Then she returned to Betrayal's chat and stared at that audio file again. Nadia typed 3 words. "So do I." She hit send without explanation. The next morning, Chicago looked unchanged. Same skyline, same gray air, same office building across her window. But inside Nadia, everything was rearranged. Her phone buzzed nonstop. First she ignored it. Then she checked. Dozens of missed calls from home. The family group chat, normally silent, was suddenly alive. Richard wrote, "The transfer didn't go through." Elaine wrote, "Answer your phone. I'm worried sick." Then the panic messages hit harder. "The mortgage bounced. Our credit cards are maxed." Nadia stared at the screen, feeling the old guilt rise. The guilt came right on time, like a trained attack dog. "After everything we've done for you," Richard wrote, "you're watching us drown." Nadia's thumb hovered over the call button. A weak part of her whispered, "They're your parents. They raised you." Maybe it was a joke. But a stronger voice inside her said, "You heard them. You can't unhear it." Nadia turned the phone face down. She went to work. She sat through meetings. She smiled politely. But every buzzing notification felt like a test she refused to fail. That night, Nadia sat on the couch with her boyfriend, Caleb. He noticed the storm in her eyes immediately. "What's going on?" he asked gently. Nadia opened her laptop and created a folder named Evidence. She saved the audio file there and renamed it Family Truth. Then she added screenshots of the guilt texts. Caleb frowned. "You're collecting proof." Nadia nodded. "I have to. They'll twist it." Caleb's voice lowered. "Play it." Nadia played the audio again. Richard's voice filled the room, laughing about loving money instead of love. When the recording ended, Caleb sat still for a long moment. "They sound proud," he said quietly. "Not embarrassed. Not guilty. Proud." Nadia's throat tightened. "I thought I was their safety net," she whispered. "Turns out I was just their investment." Caleb squeezed her knee. "You have two choices," he said. "You either pretend you never heard it and turn the money back on, or you let this be the moment you stop paying for their approval." Nadia swallowed hard. "What if I regret it?" Caleb shrugged softly. "You might. But choose which regret you can live with." Over the next few days, Richard and Elaine changed strategies like professional manipulators. One hour it was anger. Next hour it was concern. Elaine texted, "Are you okay mentally?" Richard texted, "We told Aunt Marla you've been acting strange." They were preparing a story, building a narrative where Nadia wasn't hurt. She was crazy. They didn't mention the audio. They didn't mention what they said. They only painted Nadia as unstable and disrespectful. Nadia heard through a cousin that they were blaming Caleb. "That boyfriend is controlling her." Nadia's anger hardened into something stronger than emotion. Nadia told Caleb, "They're trying to make me the villain." Caleb nodded. "Because they can't accept being wrong. They'd rather destroy your name than admit the truth." Nadia stared at the evidence folder on her laptop. "And Brielle?" she asked bitterly. "How did they even get my workplace location?" Caleb's silence answered her. Nadia felt her stomach drop. She had been loyal to her parents, but Brielle was loyal to survival. Favor. To comfort. Nadia whispered, "She chose them." Caleb said gently, "She chose herself. To your expense." That sentence hit Nadia like cold water. Nadia thought ignoring them would make everything burn out. She was wrong. Desperate people don't accept boundaries quietly, especially when they've lived off someone else's money. One Tuesday, Nadia was in a budget meeting when her assistant knocked urgently. The assistant's face looked tense. "Nadia, there are two people asking for you," she whispered. "They say they're your parents." Nadia's body went cold. She had never given Richard and Elaine her exact workplace address. For them to be here meant someone helped them. Nadia already knew who. She stood up slowly and excused herself with a calm face that hid panic. In the lobby, Richard paced like a loaded spring. Elaine sat stiffly with her purse clutched tight. They looked smaller in the bright corporate space, but their entitlement was still huge. The moment Richard spotted Nadia, his voice rose loudly, "There you are. We need to talk." Heads turned. Co-workers stared. Nadia forced a smile and said through clenched teeth, "This way." She led them into an empty glass meeting room. As the door clicked shut, the performance began immediately. Elaine snapped, "Why have you been ignoring us?" Richard barked, "Do you understand what you've done to this family?" Elaine's eyes glistened with fake tears. "Our mortgage bounced. We're drowning. Do you even care?" Richard leaned forward, voice sharp. "We sacrificed everything to raise you." Nadia felt heat climb into her face, but her voice stayed calm. "I heard what you said." For 1 second both parents froze. Their eyes flickered like broken lights. Elaine blinked too fast. "What are you talking about?" Nadia pulled out her phone. "The recording," she said. "The dinner conversation where you joked you love my money, not me." Richard's jaw clenched. Elaine's face drained. Richard snapped quickly. "That was taken out of context." Elaine tried to laugh awkwardly. "We were joking." Nadia's eyes stayed steady. "You seemed very clear when you laughed." Richard slammed his palm on the table. "We are your parents," he hissed. "Parents have a right to expect support from their children." Nadia leaned in slightly. "And children have a right to not be used." Richard sneered. "You wouldn't have what you have without us." Nadia answered without blinking. "You wouldn't have what you have without me." Silence stretched like wire. Nadia could see shapes through the glass outside. Co-workers pretending not to look. Nadia took a deep breath and did the one thing that shifted power instantly. She hit play. Their voices filled the room, loud and undeniable. "She really thinks we love her. What we love is her money." Then the laughter. The sound echoed against glass and corporate walls like a confession. Elaine flinched as if slapped. Richard's eyes widened. Elaine hissed, "Turn that off. Someone might hear." Nadia paused the recording and said calmly, "Exactly." Richard's voice dropped into threat. "Are you threatening us?" Nadia shook her head. "I'm setting a boundary." She spoke slowly and clearly. "No more ambushing me at my job. No more spreading lies. No more contacting people around me." Richard's nostrils flared. Elaine whispered, "We just want you to remember your family." Nadia stood up. "Family doesn't monetize kindness." She opened the door as a signal. "You lost the right to call this love when you turned it into a transaction." Richard stormed out first. Elaine followed, shoulders tight, eyes burning with humiliation. After they left, Nadia locked herself in the bathroom and shook. Not from fear, but from the adrenaline of finally standing up. She stared at her reflection and whispered, "I'm done." For years, she had been trained to protect their image. She had kept secrets, covered messes, smiled through disrespect. That day, she shattered the three weapons they always used. Her guilt, her silence, her need to be seen as good. Nadia washed her face and returned to her desk as if nothing happened. But inside, she had crossed a line that could never be undone. The following weeks felt like an uneasy aftermath. Nadia began writing again. Not dreamy journaling, but sharp facts like a legal log. Day 1 after office confrontation, she wrote. They tried guilt. Played the audio. They looked exposed. Writing gave her clarity. If they twisted the story later, Nadia would have records. Between work and documenting everything, Nadia did something new. She lived for herself. She signed up for a weekend painting workshop she had always wanted, but never allowed herself. She bought cheap brushes and a canvas. The paint felt like freedom. Nadia also grew closer to her neighbor Tessa, who lived down the hall with her partner Mason. Before, it had only been polite greetings. But one evening, Tessa invited her in for tea. Nadia said yes. One cup turned into hours of truth-telling. Nadia admitted softly, "I still feel guilty." Tessa nodded. "Because they trained you that love equals sacrifice." Mason added, "But love doesn't mean unlimited access." Nadia stared into her tea like it held answers. Tessa said gently, "Protecting your peace doesn't make you wicked. It makes you sane." Those words settled inside Nadia like warm bricks. Meanwhile, Richard and Elaine kept escalating. Nadia heard they messaged one of her co-workers online pretending concern. "Is she acting strange at work?" They told relatives Nadia had been brainwashed by Caleb. They told people she had become cold because she was earning well. Nadia's aunt texted, "Whatever this fight is about, fix it. Family is forever." Nadia stared at the message for a long time. She almost sent the audio file. Almost. But instead she replied, "You don't know the truth." Then she wrote in her journal, "Sometimes what lasts forever isn't love, it's damage." The rumors eventually stopped being background noise and started walking into Nadia's life wearing familiar faces. One afternoon, an old family friend called. "I don't want to meddle," she began, then meddled anyway. "Your parents say you abandoned them." She lowered her voice. "They say you're selfish." Something in Nadia snapped clean. Nadia had allowed them to take her money for years. She would not allow them to steal her reputation too. That night, Nadia opened her laptop and began writing a letter. At first she wrote, "Dear Mom and Dad." Then she deleted it and replaced it with, "Dear Richard and Elaine." The first draft was pure fury. Nadia typed lines sharp enough to bleed. "You used my kindness like a credit card. You laughed at my love." She wrote 3 pages and felt the heat rise and fall inside her. Then she stopped and stared at the screen. Nadia knew the truth. That letter wasn't for them. It was for her wounded heart. She saved that document as unsent truth. Then she opened a new document and wrote again, this time controlled, calm, and surgical. She didn't want screaming. She wanted consequences. In the second letter, Nadia wrote carefully, "For years I believed helping you financially was my duty. I paid bills, covered debts, and gave up opportunities because I thought it proved love." Then she described the recording. "Hearing you say you loved my money, not me, ended the illusion." Nadia explained the boundary. "No more payments, no more access, no more manipulation." She added, "Any attempt to contact my workplace, co-workers, or partner will be treated as harassment." Then she concluded, "If you continue defaming me, I will respond with evidence." She attached screenshots. She attached the audio file. She hit send. 2 hours later, Elaine called from a private number. Nadia didn't answer. Richard texted, "How dare you threaten us?" Nadia didn't reply. Then Betrayal called. Nadia stared at the name until the ringing stopped. 10 minutes later, Betrayal sent a message. "Why are you doing this? They're crying." Nadia typed 1 sentence. "You sent the recording. You already knew." Betrayal replied, "I didn't think you'd react like this." Nadia's fingers shook as she typed. "You didn't think I'd stop paying." Silence followed. In that silence, Nadia understood that Betrayal wasn't innocent. She was strategic the next day. Aunt Marla called Nadia directly. "Nadia," she said, voice heavy, "your parents are ashamed." Nadia almost laughed. "Ashamed of what?" Aunt Marla sighed. "Of being exposed." Nadia answered quietly. "They were never ashamed when they were taking from me." Aunt Marla paused. "Your mother says it was a joke." Nadia's voice hardened. "A joke is funny to everyone. Not just the people holding the knife." Aunt Marla didn't argue after that. Instead she asked softly, "Do you have proof?" Nadia said, "Yes." Aunt Marla inhaled sharply. The truth was beginning to spread. A week later, Nadia received an email notification. Her parents had tried to access one of her older joint financial links again. But they couldn't. She had already locked it down. Nadia called her bank and placed further security restrictions. Then she called a lawyer. The lawyer listened carefully and said, "Keep everything. Messages. Recordings." Nadia's heart thumped. "Do I have a case?" The lawyer responded, "If harassment continues, yes." That word, harassment, felt strong and validating. Nadia had spent years thinking she was simply helping. Now she understood the truth. She had been financially abused. Richard didn't stop. Instead, he grew bolder. Nadia discovered he had contacted her HR department claiming Nadia was mentally unstable and being controlled by her partner. HR called Nadia in. Nadia walked in with a folder. She placed printed screenshots on the table and said calmly, "I'm being harassed." She played part of the audio recording. HR's eyes widened. Nadia added, "These are the people doing it." HR promised to block and document any further contact. When Nadia left the office, she felt dizzy. But it wasn't fear. It was strength. For once, the system was protecting her, not her parents. At home, Caleb wrapped an arm around her. "You're doing the right thing," he said. Nadia leaned into him. "It doesn't feel right," she admitted. "It feels like betrayal." Caleb shook his head. "No. Betrayal is laughing about someone's love while taking their money." Nadia's eyes stung. "They raised me," Caleb answered softly. "And you raised them financially." That line landed hard. Nadia realized she wasn't just a daughter. She had been their hidden sponsor, their unpaid provider. And now they were panicking because the sponsor finally resigned. Then came the twist Nadia didn't expect. Betrayal showed up at her apartment. She looked nervous, like someone entering court. Nadia opened the door without smiling. Betrayal blurted, "I didn't mean for this to happen." Nadia stared at her. "Then why did you send it?" Betrayal looked down. "Because I thought it was funny. And because I wanted you to see how they talk." Nadia's voice went low. "You wanted me to see? Or you wanted them to stop pressuring you and focus on me again?" Betrayal's face tightened. Silence became an answer. Nadia stepped back. "Leave," she said. "Until you learn what loyalty is." Months passed. Nadia's life grew quieter. Her savings grew. Her peace grew too. She painted every weekend. She laughed more. She went out with Tessa and Mason. She even started planning a future, something she never did because she always expected the next family emergency. Then one afternoon, Caleb walked in holding his phone. "Your dad is trending," he said. Nadia frowned. "What?" Caleb turned the screen around. Richard had been arrested for fraud involving a loan application. Nadia's stomach dropped. The post mentioned unpaid debts, bounced payments, and forged income claims. Nadia sat slowly. "Oh, I wasn't the only money source," she whispered. Later, Aunt Marla confirmed it. Richard and Elaine had been borrowing money using Nadia's support history as proof they could pay. When Nadia cut the transfers, their fake stability collapsed. Their image collapsed too. Elaine tried calling Nadia that night, sobbing. Nadia answered once, only once. Elaine cried, "We're ruined." Nadia's voice remained calm. "No, you're exposed." Elaine begged, "Please help us." Nadia swallowed pain and said, "You already told me what you love. Go love it now." Then she ended the call. Her hand shook after, but her spirit didn't bend. Elaine sent messages non-stop afterward. "We're still your parents. You can't do this." Nadia replied once. "I didn't do this." "You did." Then she blocked the number. Nadia didn't feel joy from their downfall. She felt grief. Grief for the childhood illusion she once clung to. But she also felt relief, the kind that comes after surviving something that nearly breaks you. Tessa asked her, "Do you miss them?" Nadia paused. "I miss the parents I thought I had." Mason nodded. "That's real grief." Nadia whispered, "But I don't miss the people they truly are." One day, Nadia received a letter in the mail. It was from Elaine, handwritten and messy. The letter didn't apologize, complained, blamed, called Nadia cruel. It claimed Nadia had turned against family values. Nadia read it once, then placed it in her evidence folder with everything else. Caleb watched her quietly. "You okay?" he asked. Nadia nodded slowly. "I'm learning." Caleb tilted his head. "Learning what?" Nadia exhaled. "That you can love people and still refuse to be their victim." Then Nadia did something final. She posted a short statement online. Not emotional, not messy. It read, "I will not sponsor people who disrespect me. Do not contact my workplace. Do not harass my partner. This boundary is permanent." She didn't share the recording publicly. She didn't need to. The people closest to the truth already knew. Within hours, cousins who once called her selfish began sending private apologies. One wrote, "We didn't know." Nadia replied, "You didn't ask." That was her biggest lesson. People often prefer the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth. Betrayal tried again weeks later. She sent a message. "I'm sorry." Nadia stared at it. She didn't rush to forgive. She didn't rush to punish either. She replied calmly, "Sorry isn't enough. Tell the truth." Betrayal asked, "To who?" Nadia typed, "To the family. To everyone you allowed to call me wicked." Betrayal didn't respond. Nadia smiled slightly. That was all the closure she needed. Nadia wasn't chasing love anymore. She wasn't begging to be seen. She had accepted what she was worth, and she refused to bargain it down. With time, Nadia noticed something strange. The good daughter label had been a trap. It meant she was useful, controllable, and guilt-ready. Now, without that label, she felt freer. She began investing properly, planning travel, helping charities instead of funding manipulative adults. Caleb once said, "You're shining again." Nadia replied softly, "I didn't know I was dim." Caleb kissed her forehead. "You weren't dim. You were drained." Nadia understood then. When love is healthy, it doesn't consume you until nothing is left. Adds to you. Protects you. One evening, Nadia sat with her paintbrush in hand, staring at a canvas filled with messy bright strokes. She realized she hadn't checked the family group chat in months. The silence no longer hurt. It healed. She remembered herself at that kitchen table, the lukewarm tea, the audio file pulsing like a warning. She whispered, "Thank you." Not to her parents, not to Betrayal, to herself, for being brave enough to stop paying for love. Nadia learned the truth too late, but still early enough to save the rest of her life. And if Nadia could speak to the person she used to be, the good daughter with tired hands and endless transfers, she would say one sentence: "You were never selfish for wanting real love." Some people will call you wicked the moment you stop being useful. Some people will only call you family when they need something. But true family doesn't laugh at your heart. True love doesn't come with receipts. In Chicago, under cold skies and bright city lights, Nadia didn't just get revenge. She got freedom. And for the first time in her life, she belonged to herself.